Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Belmont Park here on Friday. It's the 9th of June, 2023. We're going to look at the stakes races here on Belmont Eve card. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also join me tomorrow for my Belmont Stakes. It's going to be an excellent, card from Belmont. So I hope you check out my Belmont Stakes preview. But, Friday's card's very good. You have the Acorn and Just Game now added to the card, which is, it's really good. And so we're going to look at those races. So all the stakes races, Friday races 4, and then 8 through 11, all conveniently packed in an all stakes pick 4. Let's get to the fourth race, though, to the Widener Turf Course. Fourth race, it is the Just a Game Stakes. It's a grade 1 event going for a $500,000 purse race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 5 horses going to the Widener Turf Course, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, if you want to go by that, with the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Belmont Widener Turf Course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here. And I show the diagram. It just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. The portable rails are down on both turf courses this weekend for the first time since last July here at Belmont. So it's going to be quite interesting here. Speed might hold up, I think. My top selection, I'm going to go with the one horse in Italian. Let's go 1-3-5-4 in the superfecta. 1-3-5-4 super. That's the top 4 for me, but basically the top selection is a one horse in Italian. If I rolled Mare by DeBowie, Chad Brown trains 1, Irad Tees Jr. gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 15th of April at Keeneland, a mile on the 16th of the grade 1 Jenny Wiley, and the horse won by 3 lengths, and on the front and all throughout, she basically put on a show. She could have won around another 5 times. Beating with the Moonlight Home was a decent Godolphin mare running later in the card, I believe, in the New York. This horse just kind of, had her own way and quickened up nicely. A very good run. Coming back to Belmont here, where she's run very well in the past, I'm going to give her another shot to win. 2 back in the Brews Cup Filly Mare Turf at Keeneland, mile 3, 16th, 5th of November. Finished second by length that day, and if she just couldn't, if she had a better trip from a little bit of a wide poster, she would have won, but she was drawn 11 of 12. She left out of the gate, which probably took a little out of her. Tuesday really gamed it out to get the job done, but this horse, she ran her heart out. Maybe miles 3/16 was also just a little bit too long for her there, and the First Lady at Keeneland, 1 mile on the 8th of October, winning by length. On the front and all throughout, she basically won in a trot, a very good race there. Before then, the Mellon at Saratoga and the Diana, she won by 1 3/4 lengths with a 102 buyer. Her last 4 races were, even with the defeat in the Brews Cup, she's run triple-digit buyers. Coming here today, I like her a lot. I think she get the job done. The 3-horse Spenderella could be your slight upsetter. I like the place behind Fluffy Socks in the Churchill Distaff Mile, and then I love the victory in the Del Mar Oaks last summer. It's a little starts between her races, but she always runs these sneaky good one. She might have to jump 5 buyer points, but wouldn't surprise me at 2-1 if she gets the job done. I think her price will slightly drift up, but I would use her on the ticket. There's a multi-day pick 4, I believe. And an all stakes or all turf pick 3, I believe. I would use her there. But to recount my selection now for the 4th from Belmont, it's the grade 1 just a game, excuse me. I'm going to take the one horse in Italian, give kudos to the 3-horse Spenderella, 1-3-5-4 super, 1-3 in your multi-race. Let's get over to race number 8 now from Belmont. It is the New York Stakes. It's a grade 1 event going for a $600,000 purse race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses going to the inner turf course here. The distance of ground of 2,000 meters, if you want to go by that, with the distance of ground of 1.25 miles on the Belmont inner turf course. 2,000 meters, 1.25 miles, and the New York rails at 0 feet. And something I've noticed, this is the first 1.25 mile race of the season at Belmont. Usually they run quite a few of them, but this year they've been carting a lot more 1 3/8 races and 1 1/8 races. Is there a problem where they can't get the starting gate on the turf course for this 1.25 mile race like they normally do with the synthetic track construction? I don't know, but I've just been finding it very weird. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 2-horse Shantasara. I'm going to go 2-8-7-4 in the superfecta. 2-8-7-4 super top selection 2 horse Shantasara, 5-year-old mare by Cosley here. Chad Brown trains. Flavian Pratt gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 5th of May at Churchill, a mile and 8th in the Grade 3 Modesty, and the horse finished 4th by 3 3/4 lengths that day. And this horse just kind of stalked. She moved a little bit late, but it wasn't anything to call home about. She might have needed the race. Also, she might not handle that turf course. Coming here to a speed favoring turf course where she gets a little close to the pace, I think she could run a good race and get the job done. I also think she wants a 1.25 mile, which she's going to get today, and I think that's going to be a preferred trip. 2 back in the Hillsborough, Tampa, a mile and an eighth on the 11th of March. She won by 1 1/4 lengths, and she's that close to the front end after a not so good beginning that day, but she stalked, she got the lead, and she went away with it. A 93 buyer, not the fastest of her career, but she still got the job done there. And then the Pegasus World Cup Philly Mayor Turf Invitational, mile 16th at Gulfstream. She finished second by 1 1/4 lengths. She closed up well behind Queen Goddesses that day. She was a little bit wide, but she ran her heart out there. Before the Hillsborough race, her last race victory before that was actually as a 3-year-old in the Queen Elizabeth II Cup at Keeneland over the mile and eighth, winning by 5 lengths. She really put on a show on the front end. She is a course winner here, winning the Jockey Club Oaks of 2021 over the mile 3/8 here by half a length. She really, went away with it. Coming here at 8-1, it wouldn't surprise me if she gets the job done. It also wouldn't surprise me if the 8-horse with the Moonlight gets the job done for William Buick and Charlie Appleby. Did not like the soft ground, the Dahlia Stakes at Newmarket over the mile and eighth on the Rolling Mile. She finished 6th by 13 lengths. She was with them early on. She completely hit the wall. Put an extra that race. That was very wet ground. Prior to then, the Jenny Wiley, she finished second by 3 lengths at Keeneland over the mile 16th, and she stalked that day. She had a decent turn of foot, but in Italian, really put on a show that day. Also, I don't think the mile on the 16th was to her liking. I think she wants to go a little longer there. But before that, made on over the mile and eighth in the Balanchine. She won by 4 1/4, and again from a tracking trip, she won easily, and then won the Cape Verde before that. Her summer stateside here wasn't bad at all. She had a very good place in the Belmont Oaks, where I thought she should have been a little bit closer early on. McKeel just really closed up for nowhere to get the job done. But this horse, she just needs something more there. Came back to run a terrific race at Saratoga and the Saratoga Oaks, and then on the quick turnaround, a decent second behind Haughty in the Lake Placid. So she's proven she can run stateside. She's been here for a couple of weeks already, training well locally. I'll give her a shot. Wise Guy Horses, 7-horse Warlike Goddess. She wants a 1.5 miles. A 1.25 miles here might be just a little bit too short for her. She won the Bewitched quite nicely at Keeneland a few weeks ago, very, very easily. And then before that, she had a decent third, I thought, in that Brewers Cup Turf against Du Bois, where she came home with a 101 buyer, and then beat the boys in the Joe Hirsch at Aqueduct very nicely on good ground. But she, 1.25 miles is a bit of a, it's that trip that's just slightly too short, I think. 6 to 5, that's a little bit too short for me to take a chance with her. I think the other two are going to give you better value, especially Shantasara at 8-1. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Belmont, it's the Grade 1 New York. I'm going to take the 2-horse Shantasara as a top selection. Give kudos to the 8-horse with the Moonlight and the 7-horse Warlike Goddess. 2874 Super, 287 in your multi-race. The co-featured 9th race from Aqueducts from Belmont. It is the Acorn Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a $500,000 purse. Race for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 8 horses going to the Belmont main track. The distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 of this year's Acorn. 1,700 meters, 1 mile 1/16 in the Acorn. And they increased the trip this year to 1 mile 16th, because basically they got rid of the Mother Goose. Well, not rid of the Mother Goose. I believe they're going to be running the Mother Goose at the end of October at Aqueduct this year and going forward, which I think is a good idea. I think you have too many races for 3-year-old fillies in basically a 7-week span. You used to have this, then the Mother Goose, and then Saratoga. What's that race? And it's not the Chuvy or the Coaching Club. You can't have 3 races in less than 7 weeks, probably 6 weeks, 5 weeks. And the Mother Goose always was the odd race out. But what can you do? But that's why basically they increased the distance, the extra 16th a mile. My top selection, I'm gonna go with the 8-horse Acid. I'm gonna go 8-6-2-5 in the superfecta. 8-6-2-5 super. Top selection 8-horse Acid. This 3-year-old for the Land to the Mischief. Chad Brown trains. Flavian Pratt gets on this one for Juddmonte. The horse's most recent outing, first time winners and first time stakes quality horses came at Churchill. 7 furlongs in the 8 bells. And the horse finished third by 1 3/4 lengths that day. And he just kind of stalked that day, a little bit wide. Money is Gold and Red Carpet already had the jump on him. But this horse, he ran his heart out. He's going to get the mile 16th, which I think his horse ultimately wants. Oh, long backstretch here at Belmont could settle well. I think the horse could turn the tables and get to the front end of Munning's goal today and winning. On the debut, the horse ran the 16th of March at Gulfstream, 6 furlongs in main special weight, winning by 1 3/4 lengths. Not the best beginnings that they got bumped out of the gate, but settled well after that. When he got to the front end, she quickened up and went away with it. An 84 buyer, nothing bad at all. She's training well here locally. A half-mile drill on the 2nd of June in 48 and 4, the 14th best out of 39, and the week prior 48 flat here at Belmont, the best workout of 34. I think this horse is rearing to go. Mile 16 should really watch out for this horse here. I think the 6 horse Pretty Mischievous, your Kentucky Oaks winner, wouldn't surprise me. She gets a good trip and win. She's bred through and through for this mile 16. Probably wants to go a mile and a quarter, I think. But in the coaching club, and the Kentucky Oaks last time out at Churchill going a mile and 8, she won by a neck and from a stupidly wide poster. She stalked. She got there in the nick of time, or held on to by the nick of time. Gambling Girl really close up from nowhere to get a good second. But this horse, she ran her heart out, getting a 92 buyer. Prior to that, in the Fairgrounds Oaks, the Fairgrounds over the mile 16th, she finished second by 3 1/4 lengths that day. She just kind of stalked. She had the lead. She got caught late. She just was a very weird run that day. I didn't bet her because of that run, basically, in that Fairgrounds Oaks. And then prior to that, in the Rachel Alexander at the Fairgrounds of the mile 16th in mid-February, she won by 3/4 length that day. She really put on a show. She stalked, she quickened up, and went away with it. An 87 buyer. Very, very good run there as a 3-year-old debut. And won the Untappable before that right after Christmas over the mile 70 at the Fairgrounds very, very nicely. She's a horse that's been on the improve. She's training well locally, half-mile drill, and 47 and 4. Third best workout, 77 a few weeks ago here. Watch out for this horse here. Also, I want to talk about the 2-horse randomized for Manny Franco and Chad Brown. Was winner at Aqueduct in late March quite nicely in a main special weight, and then had a decent third at Saratoga last summer in a 6-furlong main special weight. Last year, who was it? Pletcher ran a maiden in this race that ran really well. This horse is not a maiden anymore, is facing winners for the first time, but it wouldn't surprise me if this horse gets a good trip and win. I'll use her in the late pick 4 here at 5-1. But to recap my selection for the 9th now from Belmont, it is the Acorn. Let's take the 8 horses seed. Give kudos to the 6 horse Pretty Mischievous and the 2 horse randomized. 8625 Super, 862 in your multi-race. Let's get over to the 10th race, which is probably my favorite race of the program. It is the Belmont Gold Cup. It's a Grade 2 event going for a $250,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 13 horses. A baker's dozen are going to the Widener Turf Course, the distance of ground of 3,200 meters, if you want to go by that, with the distance of ground of 2 miles on the Belmont Widener Turf Course. 3,200 meters, 2 miles here in the Gold Cup. The only 2-mile race that they run on the circuit here in New York, and I believe the only race over a mile and a half stateside that has a graded status. Well, I think they run the marathon race, Brewers Cup weekend at a mile at 5/8. So anything over a mile 5/8 is the only basically graded race for them for over the flat. But my top selection in the Gold Cup, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse, Amazing Grace. I'm going to go 7-2-13-11 in the superfecta. 7-2-13-11 super. And tell you the truth, any of these 4 can win. So use them in the pick 4. But the top selection, 7 horse, Amazing Grace. 5-year-old mare by Perfectionist here. Christophe Clement trains. Joel Rosario gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 5th of May here at Belmont. About a mile 3/8 in her turf course in the Sheepshead Bay. And the horse finished 4th by 5 lengths that day, and she just stalked and never really got going. The ground was a little bit softer than she probably wanted. I do think with a longer trip she should settle well. She does better on very fast ground, which she's going to get today. I think she could stay the trip and run well against the boys. She ran a very, very fast ground before that stateside debut, 1st of April at Gulfstream, a mile and a half in the Orchid. The horse won by half a length, and closing up from nowhere. She was stupidly wide, but she went away with it. A very, very good, gritty performance there. And then the Prix van Europa at Cologne, a mile and a half, good ground, 25th of February. She finished 3rd by 3 lengths. She just kind of stalked. Rebels Romance really put on a show, went on to win the Brewers Cup Turf that next start out of Keeneland. But this horse, she ran her heart out against those horses there. And then prior to that, a bottom, a mile and a half in the Group 2 locally. She won by 1 1/4 lengths, and from a tracking trip, she really put on a show. Coming here today, it wouldn't surprise me if she gets away with it. I'm going to use her on the ticket. She could definitely stay. I think the 2 horse here, Saskatchewan Skenny for Godolphin and William Buick. Wouldn't surprise me if this horse gets the job done. Ran a massive place in the Dubai Gold Cup and made on two-back on Super Saturday, where he finished second by a neck behind the Coolmark Broom. With this horse sat back early, he had to turn a foot, but Broom outgamed in late. Nothing bad about that run. A few weeks ago in the Yorkshire Cup at York over the mile 3/4, he finished fifth by 3 1/4 lengths that day. He probably needed the race for a start back from the Middle East, where he's just a little bit flat in the later stages of the race. And then I want to go back to 17th of February at Meydan, a mile 3/4 in the Natal Sheba Trophy, winning by 2 lengths. He was all out getting the job done. Since taking him to the staying trip, he's really become a better horse, I think, and he's really been on the improve. Coming here at 8-5, the European runners have great success in this race. It wouldn't surprise me if this horse gets away with it also. The 13 horse, the Grey Wizard for Grand Motion and John Velasquez, wouldn't surprise me if he wins. Was a winner quite nicely at Keeneland a few weeks ago over the 1.5 mile in a lounge race. Won by 1 1/4 lengths, closing up from nowhere. He really put on a show that day. Prior to that in San Marcos Santanita over the 1/4 mile, he finished fifth by 1 3/4 lengths again. He was closing up well, just a little bit too late, but he was staying the trip well. He's by Caravaggio. When I think of Caravaggio, I don't think about stayers. This horse looks like he wants to go a longer trip. He's won twice here stateside. Once at Keeneland last time out, and once 3 back at Santanita over the 1.25 mile in a lounge race. Won by 2 1/4 lengths at 60 cents to the dollar. He really went away with it. A very, very good run. He's run these sneaky good races locally since getting gelded. Second start back stateside. He's really, the buyers have been going up. Watch out for him here today. And also the 11 horse High Definition for Joseph O'Brien and Jose Ortiz. He's been actually running over the hurdles in the UK. Most recently at Punchestown during their festival last month, where he finished second by 7.5 lengths, and he was jumping well. Major improvement off the Cheltenham race, but he still needed something more. At Cheltenham, he wasn't handling the going there. And then at Leopardstown during their February meeting at the Dublin Chase meeting, he just wasn't really, running well. And then was a maiden hurdle victory at Leopardstown and after Christmas quite nicely. But, if you go over the flat form before that on the Caravan O'Brien, he wasn't running bad at all. He had a decent sneaky third in the Coronation Cup last year at Epsom, and a very good place in the Tattersall's Gold Cup at Dakar last May. Watch out for this horse at 8-1. I believe O'Brien won this race, or Joseph O'Brien won this race quite a few years ago. But to recount my selection now for the 10th from Belmont, it is the Belmont Gold Cup. Going to take the 7 horse Amazing Grace. Give kudos to the 2 horse, who is Siskeny, and the 13 horse, the Grey Wizard, and the 11 horse High Definition. 7, 2, 13, 11 Super. We'll use all 4 of them in the pick 4. So now let's get to race number 11, because my knees are absolutely killing me. Good thing it's the final race. Went running today, which is really horrible, and my knees are starting to act up. Even sitting down's hard. Is breaking my knees. But we'll get through. The 11th, and also with the smog we've had here in New York City today, it's horrible. Good thing the Belmont's not today, because I don't think they could run the Belmont with all that air pollution, but that's for another day. The 11th race from Belmont now, it is the Intercontinental Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a $200,000 purse race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses going to the Belmont Inner Turf Course. 1,200 meters the journey, with a distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the Belmont Inner Turf Course. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs here in the Intercontinental. I still think it would be a better race if they brought it back to the 7 furlong trip, but what am I to say? My top selection, I'm going to go with the 7 horse Bubble Rock. 7-1-6-2 for me in the superfecta. 7-1-6-2 super. Top selection, 7 horse Bubble Rock. This 4-year-old filly by More Than Ready. Brad Cox trains. Joel Rosario gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came 7th of May at Belmont. 6 furlongs wide in her turf course and the license fee. And the horse won by a half a length, and he sat back early, stupidly wide, a little bit bumpy down the backstretch. But when this horse had the turn of foot, she got the job done. A very good performance with the 91 career best buyer that day. Prior to that, they tried a routing at Keeneland over the mile in a lounge race on the lawn. She finished second by a neck that day. She was with him early on, not setting wicked fast fractions, but she just couldn't keep up late. Maybe just didn't want to go the routing trip that day. And the Mrs. Revere at Keeneland over the mile 16th on the 25th of November, winning by 1 1/4 lengths, 113 3 3/4. If you went off of those fractions, if you go with those fractions, you're going to win. She held on to the victory there. And then the Valley View Keeneland over the mile 16th, she finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths that day. And she just, kind of set some pedestrian fractions, but then got caught by better horses there. And then Music City at Kentucky Downs over the 6.5. Off the bench, she needed the race there. She was very, very flat. But back to a sprinting trip horse. She's always run sneaky good, even in her early two-year-old campaign and most recently here. I'm going to give her a shot to run a good race here today. I think the one-horse Poppy Flowers, your second likeliest winner for Jose Ortiz, had a very good place in license fee behind Bubble Rock. And then the seasonal reappearance at Aqueduct over the 3 quarters and Optional 80 on the lawn. Had a very good third that day where she just, if she broke better, she would have made the race interesting late. But come back here, decent season last year, great win at Laurel, great place in the Galway after that, or a great place in the Coronation Cup after that. I'll give this horse a shot on the ticket. She could definitely win here. And also give a shot to the 6-horse Amy C, coming from Southern California. Has run since the La Cienega going down the hill at Santini on the 2nd of January, where she won by 1.25 lengths going away with it, and won the Senator Ken Matty before that down the hill at Santa Anita. Coming here wouldn't surprise me. She had a great victory here 2 seasons ago on the Widener. I'll give her a shot at 5-1. But to recount my selection for the 11th, the nightcap on Belmont Friday card, it is the Intercontinental. Going to take the 7-horse Bubble Rock. Give kudos to the 1-horse Poppy Flower and the 6-horse Amy C. 7-1-6-2 Super, 7-1-6 to end off the multi-races. So good luck to all. Remember to check out my Belmont Stakes preview and follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Good luck, everybody.